everybody. Welcome to today's episode of The Recovery Scene. Today, I'm really excited. We have Sarah Kaufman Bradstreet with us. Now, Sarah is one of those stories that is going to relate to somebody who is maybe thinking this might be a problem, but I don't know if it's an addiction. Sarah was, I could say, a drinker. And then alcohol kind of became her life. But like I always tell all of you, you don't want to hear me. You came here to hear, oh, look, I did it right. You came here to hear Sarah tell her story. So Sarah, I am going to give you the floor, and thank you so much for being willing to be here and share your story with us.
I'm really excited. And I'm like, it was so funny because I know you had reached out one time and I was so like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of brand new to what I'm doing on TikTok. I don't know. And so I'm so glad that you reached out a second time, because now I'm like, okay, yes, let's do this. So I'm really excited to share my story. Like you said, I was just, I'm going to back up to kind of what I was doing at the time and how it all escalated to become this drinking is my only hobby, is what I always told people. It just became what I did for fun. But it was the only thing I did for fun. I couldn't figure out what else I did.
Like we didn't crochet or knit or go jogging. Yeah, we drank.
Exactly.
Yeah, your story's very much like mine.
Yeah. And now I have hobbies and I'm like, oh, this is very fun. But so I was let's see, when it all happened, I was a part-time teacher, a part-time elementary music teacher, and I had another business that I ran at home. So I had everything kind of going, but it was new to me to be a part-time music teacher, work 2 days a week only, and then have 3 days where I was working from home, which had been my dream for so long. And I always think that that's when it all started kind of becoming a little bit more than I wanted it to be. Because when I was teaching full time, you got to be totally on, and you can't have those days in the middle of the week where you drank too much and you're just like, oh, now I'm a waste to my students. But when you're only teaching 2 days a week, it's like a different ballgame. So, and I had always been, my husband's an entrepreneur and works from home. And I'd always been so jealous of him because he could have that third glass of wine that when I was teaching, I couldn't have. And I was like, oh man, this is my time. Like, this is what people do that work from home. They get to enjoy life the way they want to, create their schedule. And I think that mentality kind of led it to just becoming a little bit more and a little bit more. And over time, it just started taking over. And I can't say that there was one big moment that pushed me over the edge, but I did have a lot of times where I would be drinking with my husband, and drunk, I would say to him, like, I think I need to quit drinking, but I didn't know how. And it was that whole, I'm going to lose all my friends. I don't know how to quit drinking. I think the only thing people do is go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and that didn't feel right. Like, and all I knew about Alcoholics Anonymous too was that what I saw in movies. So you stand up and you say, I'm an alcoholic. And I was like, if I say I'm an alcoholic, I think, will they kick me out of the meeting? Like, I was so confused on what that next step was. So I just kind of buried it down, which is my go-to. Just keep burying it down and let it be there. And I just kept going about my life drinking, and it just kept becoming more and more and more like alcohol will do, because it's an addictive substance. But in my brain, you had to have the alcoholic gene to have that problem. So I was like, nothing will happen to me. This is okay. And now looking at it, I'm like, God, I was so stupid. But I think that's where everybody is. They don't see it for what it is. No matter what, it's addictive, right? It's kind of like
nobody thinks it's going to happen to them. You know,
yeah,
that's and it's movies or other people.
Exactly. So I just kept drinking a little bit more here and there until it kind of became like all our weekends were drinking. It was starting like, oh, we'd start with mimosas because those are classy and it's brunch and that's all fine. And then just keep going throughout the day. And I was keeping it all together on the outside. If anybody knew me, they didn't really think I had an issue. Sure, if you went to a party with me, you'd see me drink too much and you'd be like, whoa, Sarah drank way too much. But nobody knew that that's what was happening almost every single night. And it was just becoming this thing. and I didn't know what to do. And then, let's see, my husband and I went on a cruise without our kids, and we bought the drink package, of course, because why wouldn't we? And when you buy
Right,
the drink
right.
package, a drink package is really expensive. So in our brains, we're like, okay, how much do we have to drink to make this worth our money? Like it was almost like, make sure we're drinking enough to make this worth our money and make it so we're on the winning end. This cruise ship didn't know what was about to hit them. And we just drank the whole time. It was like the Bender cruise. And then we got home and my parents had watched our kids and I was just like, God, I'm so tired. But it's like we just kept that party going. And I think that was the thing that really pushed both of us to be like, whoa. Because then we went on a camping trip where we drank all weekend. And then my 40th birthday happened, and that was just another drink fest. And it was just this going until one day I got home from work and my husband was like, I'm listening to this book and I think you should listen to it. And I was like, what is it? And he's This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. And
Mhm.
I was like, what's that about? And he's like, well, it's just about what alcohol really is at face value and how our culture has really made it the norm. And I was so like, what? I don't, nope. I'm not going to listen to that book because at that point, I had tried to quit a few times, tried to cut back, and it didn't work. So I had kind of accepted, like, this is who I am. I'm just fun drinking party Sarah, and that's all good.
Right. And it's
So I
hard
was
when
like,
one wants to stop and the other
mhm,
one doesn't,
yeah.
that's always fun.
Well, and the thing was, too, I was like, okay, he doesn't seem too serious because he was drinking a beer while he was telling me
No,
this. So it's like,
okay.
we're still good. We're okay.
There's
Nothing's
some
going to change.
wiggle room here, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, but I really think you should listen to it. He kept listening to it, telling me about it. And I was just like, I wasn't really having it. And then I finally started listening and I can't remember for sure, but I know there was one moment where I was listening to it while I was driving to work and I just started crying and I was like, this is me. All of this is me. And the thing that stood out in her book to me and to my husband was like, you don't have to say you're an alcoholic. You can just say, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to see where this goes and really explore your relationship with alcohol and decide if you like it or if you don't. So we kind of decided we'd take a break, but I always tell people we decided we'd take a break, but I think we both knew like we're just done. It was really eye-opening for us and it was just that push that we both needed. But in my mind, I was like, I'll do 30 days. I'll see where it is. And I was also at this point where I was like, do I have a problem? Like, is this going to be really hard to just quit? And is this something we can even do on our own? So I was very like, let's just see. And if I don't make it the 30 days, I'll go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'll figure something out. So I went the 30 days and it just stuck and it was amazing. And it has continued to be amazing. It was just this eye-opening thing where I feel like I was just living this half life and I didn't know. And I feel like so many people don't know. And then I didn't tell anybody that I had quit, which is kind of funny because my job at the time was very social media driven. And I told everybody everything. It was part of my thing. Be vulnerable, show up. And I was like, I'm not telling anybody about this. Nobody needs to know that I'm trying to quit drinking. And so I think I finally told people on the social media land like a day 75. Like I was like, here's a little secret. I quit drinking a while ago. And it was just a huge, I don't know, it was a shift, a mindset shift for sure, to see like anybody can choose to quit drinking. And also that there's a lot of people out there in the world that quit drinking. And I didn't see that either. I was on the side of who knows, like who do I
Right.
even
Because
know
in
that?
every TV show, every movie, almost everything you see,
Yeah.
drinking is the norm. Now, was there ever a time where it affected your life to the point where you were like, some people will act a certain way and think, oh my gosh, I would never act like that otherwise, or I have these responsibilities, or were you always functional?
There were times at like friends' parties where I would remember saying stupid things or just remember being kind of a brat. I just would say things that were really out of character for me and I would be so embarrassed the next day. And my thought always was, I hope they were so drunk that they didn't really notice too.
Oh,
Like,
right.
I hope everybody at the party was right where I was, so no one really remembers that. And that was always a big thing for me. And then I started showing up to work on Mondays hungover. Like it was just a repeated thing. And it was the hangover where I knew I was going to be okay and it was going to go away by like noon. But it was still just that waking up in the middle of the night on Sunday and being like, oh my God, you drank all day long on Sunday again. And here you are, and you're going to go to work and people are trusting you with their kids and they have no idea that this is the teacher they're getting. But on the outside, it all looked good. And I was still a functional teacher, but I was definitely a better teacher once I quit drinking. Like when I quit drinking, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm back. I'm such a fun again. So those were those little moments for me where I was like, this doesn't seem like everybody else anymore.
Right, right. You never had the moments where you blacked out or anything like that, though.
I did. My husband had to fill me in on a lot of nights where he just kind of said, do you remember that you did this? And I'd be like, oh, no. Or friends would I'd piece together things with text messages being like, do you know how this happened? And I'm like, and it had become my normal life and it was really accepted within my friend circle too, who I'm still friends with most of these people still. So it just kind of felt like, well, this is just what adults do, which now I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not what adults do. But
right, right. So where are you now as far as like everything is harmonious, everything has still kind of stuck with you and your husband? Life has changed, I guess.
Okay. Let's say we both quit at the same time, and it's been now almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in May. So, and our relationship is so much better. And it wasn't a bad relationship at all, but I got so angry at my husband over the stupidest things. And I would wake up in the morning and think, I'm mad at him, but I don't remember why I'm mad at him, but I better keep it going. And it was almost, I better keep going that I'm mad at him because I don't want him to know that I drank so much that I don't know why I'm even mad at him anymore. And it was always over such stupid things. It would always be like, we're drinking, we're having a good time. And then all of a sudden it's time to cook dinner and make the household run again. And I would get mad because, oh my God, he put the rag in the sink again. Why doesn't he know that drives me crazy? He still does it. But now I'm like, I can handle it. Now I can just be like, okay, rags in the sink. And I think we were both a little worried, but I think I was more worried that we wouldn't like each other anymore when we quit drinking because we were each other's drinking partners. Like we were each other's biggest enablers too.
Right, right.
So I'm always just like, wow, I don't know what finally clicked this time, but something did. And I always think it's more that I became really open to seeing how amazing the world is without alcohol. And before I was always on this side of, oh, if I quit drinking, it's going to be boring. And I'm not going to be fun at parties anymore. And nobody's going to talk to me. Like I saw all these negative things, which are not true. Right. And instead I made like my job to see amazingness in everything. And it really is just like, it's changed my life.
Yeah. It's amazing how when we're, drinking, we think we're living, and we think we're just living life to the fullest and everything. And then we quit and we realize, well, wait, I was missing all this stuff.
So much. And it's, you're living in a fog, and you're living in a fog when you're hungover too. So it's like, you're in this party, and I have memories still where it's almost like that, the flash type memories. Cause when you're drinking, it's just very like, and people always talk about like, well, I'm so bored when I don't drink. And I'm like, I think you were probably bored when you were drinking. It's just that your brain's reacting in this different way. And that's, my husband and I joke about, what did we even talk about when we were drunk? Cause we used to drink from like 4 p.m. till we'd go to bed at like 9. So, but what in the world did we talk about? And I told him one day, I said, it must have been the most boring conversation. And we must have repeated ourselves over and over and over. Because when we quit, became quiet and became normal. Like we
Right.
actually read now.
And like at the time, you think you're having such deep conversation.
Conversations. Yes, I was always like, "Oh my God, we're gonna change the world with these ideas we're having right now." And then you wake up in the morning, you're like, "I don't remember these ideas."
Right. Did anybody write this down?
We did have moments where I was like, "Get out the voice recorder. We gotta get this on." And then we'd listen to those, and I'm like, "Oh my God." And I still have some videos and stuff, and I just want to be like, just delete that. Like my husband found a video of me doing karaoke on the booze cruise, as I like to call it. And oh my gosh, we have to watch this. This was like 2 nights ago. And I was like, please don't show me that. I don't want to see it. And I'm a music teacher. And it was horrible. And I was just like, oh, I told you not to show me that. And he's like, you were just too drunk. And I'm like, you let me get on the stage. Like,
just crazy.
Gotta hold back.
Oh man, that's fantastic. I mean, bad, but fantastically bad.
Yeah. Well, and then my relationship with my kids has changed a lot. I don't know if they've noticed because they're both 9, and I don't know if they get it, but I am so much more patient. They may beg to differ. And I feel like I'm so much better at like keeping my word with them now. Like, okay, I said this was going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And I almost think they were getting to that age where they knew if I was drinking, they could get away with a little bit more and push me a little bit. But even too, I'd get really grumpy with them and just flip out sometimes, just like, it's enough, we're done. And I didn't do things with them. And it was I just wasn't the best mom I could have been.
Right. You were, as a friend of mine says, you were there, but you weren't really present.
Yeah. And I was more focused on getting drunk than being a good mom and being a friend to them. So.
Right. Exactly. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for, being willing to share your story and just kind of be open and be vulnerable and, kind of put yourself out there. Really appreciate that.
Yeah. I always hope that just by sharing it, somebody else can hear and say, that sounds like me.
Right.
And if she did it, I can probably, and I always tell people too, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Because I felt like I was in a space where it wasn't ever, this is where I was. And I was almost waiting for that rock bottom moment. Like that was I know I don't have a problem because I haven't hit rock bottom. And I'm like, it's such a stupid thought when you look back, you're like, oh my God, you were questioning it so much. You could have stopped so much earlier. But I think we all have to be ready.
Right. And let everybody has that rock bottom moment.
Yeah.
Some people luckily catch it before that happens, like you did. And there are going to be people that are, well, you should have gone to AA, you should have done this, you should have done that. And my take on recovery is whatever you're doing that's keeping you sober or keeping you clean, and it's working for you and it's working for your family, and you are living the life that you love and you want to live, then that's exactly what you need to keep doing.
Yeah. Totally.
So, yeah, there are going to be people out there that are like, you know what, the NA, AA, this is not for me. This is not for me. Okay, it doesn't have to be for you.
Well, that was one of my things when you reached out to me. I was just kind of like, just so you know, I didn't do Alcoholics Anonymous, and I just don't want to come on and offend anybody. But I'm also like, I feel like that was something I needed to hear, that you don't have to declare that you have a problem. And now I have no problem when people are like, well, do you think you had a problem? I'm like, yeah, I did. But
there are people out there that are able to quit on their own. And there's nothing like, sometimes I think I had to go to NA. I had to go to AA. I had to, I went through a bunch of recovery channels. And I think that sometimes addicts and alcoholics that have to do that feel like it somehow invalidates them. And it doesn't. It's just like the heroin addict who is trying to recover that is not on Suboxone does not invalidate the one that needs Suboxone so they don't relapse and destroy their life.
Yeah.
So that's why I am of the mindset of you do what gets you off the ledge. If it gets you off the ledge, that's what you do,
Yeah.
And if it's working for you, you keep doing it. So there are going to be men and women out there going, oh, thank God, because I thought that I couldn't do it unless I did, all these other things. And then also, I want addicts and alcoholics watching this to know that just because someone was able to quit without rehab, I never went to rehab, without NA, without AA, with a different type of program, because you do have your own program. You and your husband are recovering together. You are your support system. You have a program, and it doesn't invalidate people that have a different program.
Yep.
So yeah, I think your story is very important, and I think it's going to touch people. I really do.
Good.
And thank you again for telling it.
You're welcome. I'm like, this was fun.
Yes, and tell people where they can find you on TikTok.
On TikTok, I'm No More Wasted Days. I cannot remember. I'm going to look really quick because I can't remember if I had to put underscores or anything on there. And I have TikTok as like my farthest back page. Yeah, so it's no_more_wasted_days. And then I'm at the same on Instagram and on Facebook. And then otherwise you can just Google my name and you'll find me.
Right. And that's
feel like all over
Bradstreet.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's going to do it for us here at the Recovery Scene. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, addiction isn't pretty, but recovery is beautiful. And we will see you next time.